Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We're zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in terms of how to stop being a source of supply to someone who is a manipulator. Someone who could be narcissistic, covert narcissistic, or psychopathic. When we talk about being in a position of supply, it means that you are a support. You are like a pillar. You are like a rafter that is part of the structural design to someone who needs ego bolstering, ego fluff, who needs accolades, attention, compliments, superficial conversation, and is really kind of a drain on somebody spiritually, emotionally, even financially or physically. And someone who is trying to sort of cultivate or groom somebody for supply, they're going to take a lot of this ego fluff as part of the fun and stuff. In other words, meaning that it's part of the intrinsic part of the relationship. Yet people don't see it coming. It's kind of like a bullet train. It just kind of goes in and out of your awareness. Yet when someone is a source of supply, usually there's a feeling of emptiness or depletion or having to crawl, just feeling that something is not right, that your life is not just in the thick of it, that you are in sort of a support, what is the word that I'm looking for? A support. You are just sort of like, what is the word? You're in a capacity of support. Capacity is what I was looking for. So meaning that oftentimes people find that they have entered into this relationship, especially in this relationship dynamic, especially as it ties back to their childhood. So if we, in order to stop being a source of supply or someone who is just there to bolster somebody's ego or play into their hand, play into their game, play into their tune, and just follow along blindly, and I know that this is like heavy words, but really when you're in the thick of it, it's to understand that chances are this relationship habit or pattern or way of relating to others, especially as you kind of interface with the world, so your public self, oftentimes it can circle back and tie back into patterns that have been learned in childhood. So to stop being a source of supply and to really sort of become your own person, it might be worthwhile to look back at one's childhood. Where previously were you in a capacity of support? Where were you having to sort of follow along and be there to comfort somebody, soothe somebody, do work, make things right for somebody who was yelling, screaming, things weren't okay? They needed your support. They needed you. And oftentimes this comes at a time in life when you should not have to be needed in that way. In other words, why am I needed in this way? Or why do I feel that I have to relate to others in a way that presupposes this, I need to do this in the relationship to have a relationship or to have it be successful or to be loved. So to be acknowledged and validated and loved and appreciated and mostly respected for who you are. So if you look back into childhood, was there a pattern or a relationship habit or a way that you were shaped, molded into being a position or a capacity where you had to support another? Did you have to do the cooking, the groceries, the house cleaning at a super early age? Did you have to be there to settle the score, be the peacemaker for fighting parents or fighting older siblings? Did you have to Was there substance abuse? Was there alcohol abuse? Were you having to keep tabs on how much people were drinking, on how much people were drugging, on how much people were spending, on sibling rivalry, where you were sort of having to pay attention to how much the other siblings got and things weren't fair, so you got wind of maybe you're not valuable. Children, really, in their innocence, have a natural sense of being valuable or important. I mean, they just are. They have their meals made for them. They have their house cleaned. They have their bills paid. They get tutored. They get educated. They get enrolled in classes. They have an abundance of leaders and mentors and people who are in a position of authority. So if you, in your early life, like ages 0 through 7, or, in that range, look at your relationship and the way it was just cultivated, the way it felt, the way you experienced it. Did you feel that you had to come and save somebody, save the day, over-obligate, or rescue somebody? Rescue meaning that I will sacrifice and I will hinder my own self for the benefit of another. Will I hurt myself if it helps another? Do I need to put this person first? Do I need to forego my friends? Do I need to forego my homework? Do I need how to learn how to do maybe very sophisticated cooking or cleaning or emotional intelligence? Did I have that as part of my early life journey, where I had to be this source of supply early on? And if this is the case, then you can see how this was a way that you had to adapt and adjust earlier in your life, that you didn't have any other choice. It's a matter of survival. It's a matter of keeping the peace. It's a matter of keeping things quiet and in divine order. If things were chaotic, there's this engineered chaos, a lot of drama, and you had to come and rescue or save the day or tell, reflect back positively and try to mirror back that everything's going to be okay to parents or older siblings or teachers. Did you find that you had to do that? You have to be like a referee. You just became in a capacity where you had to be supportive, or you had to be there to soothe other people's qualms and concerns and hurts. Are you a master soother? Did you have to? I mean, it's not, of course it's a wonderful thing to be able to soothe yourself and to soothe others and to solve problems, but did you have to do this before your time? Were you like a young parent? Were you a young peacemaker? Were you a young Peace Corps? I mean, was that kind of like how your early days felt, where you weren't just enlisted in a family, you were enlisted in a mission? You didn't get a chance to just experience life and feel valuable, important, and playful, and free and liberated as a child should, or did you have to stop from experiencing this? Was there something that came up, maybe a life event, maybe a move? For each person it's different. Was there, a sibling or a parent who got into work problems or grade, education problems, where things couldn't just be free and, fancy free and carefree, where you felt valuable and safe? Or was this a feeling that, was under attack? So if this is the case, then you can see how the groundwork was laid from the beginning. The yellow brick road was paved with you, with the intention that you would go along the yellow brick road and you would be the rescuer. You wouldn't mind sacrificing your needs or enduring emotional pain for the benefit of another. Do you find yourself in this pattern? And if so, this is part of what keeps one, I would just say, in emotional immaturity. Not that that's a statement of judging, but if you would like to stop this relationship pattern and break the cycle, then you can look at that positioning of yourself, the way that you relate to others, the way you relate to the world, other people of importance, such as people who are you are to be intimate with or work closely with or have as people of authority, like your boss, your manager, or supervisor, or other people who you might encounter. It might help you to clear the fog, the fear, obligation, and guilt, if you are to tone it down and to, rather than feeling exhausted, depleted, and that you have to always promulgate and fluff up another's ego, give them compliments, always talk about how good they are, their music, how they run things, their group, and go through situations where you don't always feel like you fit in, but you're just facing it with a tight upper lip. You can acknowledge then that this was what hindered you earlier, and that this is a degree of where you feel immature. So in order to stop being this, you can, when you feel yourself physiologically going into that mode of, here I go again, I'm always having to talk up this person, or, go through a relationship and never feel heard, acknowledged, validated, that someone doesn't know your heart, they don't know, about you as a person, and you feel that you can't even explore your own legacy, your own history, how you and your family have evolved, or you and your culture have evolved, then you can, when you acknowledge this and the seriousness of this, then you can say, when you feel yourself entering into that mode, if you will, you can say, you know what, nope, that would be immature of me. Let me be a little bit more mature about this, and let me receive. Let me receive. Let me receive the compliments. For a lot of people, whoa, that sure does not feel good. People get very uncomfortable, especially if they've been a source of supply. They get uncomfortable when they are complimented by other people, because it challenges the trauma bond. It challenges your role in your capacity of supply. It challenges that status quo that you have lived in. So it's time to take it to the next level. This is what the universe wants, and deep inside is probably what you want. And so how do you stop? Well, if you can get leverage, which means control over yourself and your emotions, rather than having things run willy-nilly and being in a constant state of feeling that you're a source of supply, when you enter into a relationship, either the current one where you're experiencing the issue or opportunities for new, and you find yourself kind of, taking that meek, you're kind of making yourself into a ball, you're nervous, you're wondering if they're going to see that your hair's out of place, or that your shirt isn't just right. You're afraid that, your shoe has a scuff, or you're afraid that they're going to see, that you're nervous, or that you're not all put together, that they're going to, see through it, that you're new on the confidence scene. Then begin to identify those feelings and identify them as exciting and desirable, because oftentimes people, because of this sort of emotional immaturity, feeling like you have to be a source of supply, an echoist, Dr. Craig Malkin, that you just have to be an image of yourself that is what this other person wants, even though it doesn't have your essence. And so they're falling in love, or you think that they need to fall in love with this image of you rather than who you are. They have to fall in love with you, the one who's constantly trying to support them, and even though your back is breaking from trying to support them and you're hurting, but yet you don't want to speak up because this is all that you've known, then you can say, wow, this I have learned in my early journey, and this is where I have a feeling of perhaps some emotional immaturity. Let me get a little bit more mature here. A lot of people, though, don't go for the road of maturity because they feel like they're going to have to walk it alone and that they're not going to be able to support themselves in their newfound role of being able to be on the level with others, be on the level, okay? And to be able to receive this feeling of safety and security and being empowered. If you've not had a chance to experience yourself empowered, happy, valuing yourself like a happy child with others without being the subject of content or competition with a narcissist or a psychopath, someone who wants you to fall in love with a facade, and also as a direct counterforce, you also have to be a facade in order to really have the relationship flow. Then it becomes very apparent that this cannot be sustainable. You know, we talk about sustainable energy and sustainable. It really can be very unsustainable to be in a source of supply. So if you can get leverage over yourself, which means being able to get power over your emotions, when you feel that yourself not being able to receive compliments or feeling social anxiety or you're being tested, you know, being treated as, well, oh, of course, you know, you're just my groupie, you're just my source of supply, you know, and to change that relationship and to change that identity that someone has cast onto your forehead for you. It's to say, you know what, that was immature. That was the immature me. I'm going to now mature. I'm going to have a more mature interaction, and I can support myself. And the universe will also support me at large. Divine order will begin to become assembled. Things, you know, and you can, it's not that it all has to, you know, in one day. It's little by little. It is a process. A lot of people really want their security and their self-esteem to just be like a presto. It does take work and grooming and combing through and getting that understood, that for you to identify it through the role of metacognition and reframing, meaning your ability to catch yourself and see what you're doing while you're doing it and being like, nope, I'm not going to be immature. I'm going to be mature here. So what does mature mean? Mature means going, you know what? I'm no longer living in the fog, fear, obligation, and guilt. You know what? That fear is immature. Let me try to be at peace and just be neutral. Pick my battles. I'm not going to, you know, let me select what I'm going to be fearful of. Is this really worth being fearful of? Or can I say, nope, not, you know, I'm going to change and let me embrace it. If you can do that and use that role of metacognition, which means your ability to think about what you're thinking about, catch yourself, and then reframe it, meaning putting a new word to your feeling. And rather than saying, you know what, you know, rather than being immature and, you know, I just have to be a source of supply, is to say, you know what, no, that's immature, you know, been there, done that, you know, got the photo, you know, of me being immature, whatever it is. I got the t-shirt, I got the photo, I got the phone number, you know, I'm not backpedaling. So if you can do that and then say, you know what, no, you explain to yourself, this is where self-talk is very important. You correct yourself and say, you know what, no, that would be immature for me to just be supply. I'm going to be on the level. I'm going to react in a more mature manner. And then that way, this will be authentic. It'll be genuine. It'll be real. And you have to try out your wings a little bit. You have to try out this new heart, your new eyes, your new way of looking at and feeling things, and being able to really resensitize yourself to this. So if you're able to catch yourself and correct that, then you're really able to then reshape and manage your emotions and not answer to the tune of supply. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, I got the photo album, I got whatever, done, and you can then look back and then reevaluate for yourself. You know what, that was where I had to try too hard. That was where these people needed me, and I had to naturally evolve into this. So give yourself a pat on the back. Have some mercy on yourself. Begin to say, you know what, you've been through a lot, and I understand how along my journey I've been molded into this, and let me now stay at my crossroads, evaluate, and then look ahead and get a vision for how I would like it to be, or it should be, how it would be, how I can be empowered and receive and not feel guilty if I don't drop everything for this person or whatever it is, your behavior that is keeping you in that supply status. So your buddy, you can do this. You can do this. It's important, and I think you will love how you feel once you really understand and get a grip and reinforce this for yourself. You can do this. Keep it on focus. You'll see how much you can improve in this area, and you'll feel so much better. It's your buddy. Peace and harmony with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out.